I want to bring in my guests. We're joined with Arnaud Develay. Arnaud is, there we are. Arnaud is an author, political analyst, and international lawyer specializing in international criminal law. His latest book, Entanglements, Biden, Ukraine, and the Fracturing of the American Political Consensus. And Law knows there is a fracturing, not just of the American political consensus, but also of the transatlantic relationship, according to, I think it was Financial Times recently. How you doing, Arnaud? You doing okay this morning? What's that morning for you?
I'm
But
doing.
doing okay.
It's afternoon actually. I'm
Yeah,
doing fine. How are you? Are you feeling
I'm
better?
doing. Yes, I am. My cold is gone. I still have a sprain, my arm hurts, but all things being equal, I am okay. I'm intact. And I'm glad that you could join me. Thank you. I still don't have my phone, so shout out to Mama Thomas for reaching out on my behalf.
No problem.
Hopefully, I'll get it today. Apparently, it's supposed to be in the mail. But I'm glad that you can join me, and you are the person that I wanted to talk to. There are a few things that are taking place. One of those things that are taking place is a narrative in the United States on the attack on Sumy. Now, Russia is saying, look, there was a military, I can't call it a parade, it's like a military ceremony. There were NATO people there, there were Ukrainian soldiers there, many of which had invaded Kursk, and we attacked that military ceremony. Now, the US's story is these were all civilians. Russia just attacked civilians just out of the blue. The problem with that narrative is that the people on the ground even pointed out, well, for one, Zelensky dismissed the Sumy governor over the military gathering. That was that. You also had the situation where, right here, and I'm going to put this out just so the audience can see it, just so, not making this up. Right here, Russia's strike on Sumy calls infighting in Ukrainian officials due to military activity close to civilians. The Ukrainian mayor of Konota calls for the resignation of the head of the military administration for the Sumy region and the head of the regional, come on, head of the regional, where is it? Administration for the Sumy region, the head of the SBU. And right here, this came out. Head of the OVA article, head of the SBU for the Sumy region, you have until 18 to resign and kneel before the dead children. Apparently, he ran. Apparently, they say he ran knocking children out the way as he was trying to get away from, I guess, the missile strike that was effectively taking place. I guess my point is these were military officials. It wasn't just randomly attacking civilians. These were military officials. And even in Ukraine itself, as they were talking about it, they're discussing it in the context of there was something going on in the military capacity that the Russian military hit. What can you tell us about this?
Well, I can only go with what we've been witnessing in those far as the Ukrainian regime is concerned when it comes down to their own civilians. So we know that even though the military aspect of the campaign, or whatever you want to call it, bears no results, they are bent on literally kidnapping people off the street. As the time moves on, it's the edge limit gets lower and lower. We know that they've thrown women into the meat grinder. They've sent people with disability on the front lines as well. So you're asking me, in other words, if the Ukrainian regime would be so cynical so as to plant military awarding of ceremonies types, medals in the midst of civilians in order to eventually, to the extent the Russians decide to target this gathering, they could then use it uh, against the Russians in the propaganda war to say, look, the Russians are not obeying the laws of wars and they're killing civilians indiscriminately. The answer is yes.
Yeah.
Kiev will do that because that's all they've got left, essentially, trying to, show up support, especially in America, because this is really
Mhm.
what's going on right now. And in America, as far as the administration is concerned, it seems like patience is wearing thin. We also don't know the content of what was discussed between Witkoff and Putin, but I'm pretty sure that allusions were made that those are people with whom we cannot sit down and hope to have a reasonable conversation about anything. Let's put it this way. So, to make a long story short, this is the umpteenth expression of complete disregard for their own civilians.
Mm-hmm.
And basically now we're seeing not senior level, but local leaders in Ukraine basically having had their fill with this, because they understand the cynicism which prompts Kiev to create those situations, and that they don't want any more parts of it. They don't want to be part of it, and they want people to be held accountable. So is that a pruit? Is that a symptom of something that might grow and become a swell at some point, leading to an existential crisis for Kiev? It's too early to say.
Yeah.
But I've seen the individual that you are referring to, the mayor, and he was extremely explicit in how he was calling for accountability. Essentially calling the governor and the head of the local SBU, all kind of names which I won't mention here, but essentially saying, we're coming for you. That's what he said. We're going to kill you. So
This guy, right?
yeah, that's right.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, I'm not going to play it because it's in a different language, but please continue. I'm sorry. I just wanted to make sure I was saying we were talking
No,
about the
actually,
same.
you should play it because it's subtitled, so it's perfect for our audience, so they can get a
Fair
gist
enough.
of. Yeah.
Хоча він взагалі не добрий день. Я зараз звертаюся до мудака, губернатора Сумської області Артюха, чучела. Якщо ти до 18:00 не станеш на коліна, скотина, і не вибачишся перед людьми, і не складеш свої повноваження голови адміністрації, падла ти кончена. І якщо з тобою красношапка, який також в темі, нічого не протидіє цьому, не складете свої повноваження з той з начальника СБУ області, а ти чучела з голови адміністрації, то тобі там ракети по Сумам прилітають, да? І зараз, просто так все відбулося, да? 18:00, чорт! Я розкажу, що відбулося. Скотіна, Скільки нам будуть призначати таких невміняємих, як оці Артюхи, як оці красношапки, Більше 20 загиблих, ідіть там. Мразь! Артюх, ти мразь, просто мразь.
Just wow. Saying scumbag, you should resign. I mean, look, he has a point, right? I mean, you're holding a military ceremony in a civilian area, knowing full well that you could be targeted, just like the other people were targeted when they were holding military ceremonies. Him being the mayor, it's like, you've just gotten all of these people killed. For what? For what? And then for the US to be like, this was clearly just civilians. That's all. There was nobody else there, just civilians. Okay, well, that clip makes it kind of pretty clear that he found them culpable, meaning him, the Ukrainian mayor of the area, found them culpable for having that ceremony there in the very first place. Just amazing.
Yeah. Well, obviously, he wasn't the mayor, that is, he wasn't in on it. Had he been in on it, he would have basically said, we're not doing this. But obviously, there are two types of officials in Ukraine right now. Those who have no qualms about sacrificing civilian lives for, momentous, temporary, media effect, and those who understand that we're dealing with families who are grief-stricken, and who at some point are going to be coming to get some answers, to get some accountability. And this guy doesn't want to be, the what should I call it, the sacrificial lamb, because this is what might happen. They're going to say, just take it to the local people. We have no idea what you're talking about. He's responsible. So the guy sees, the writing on the wall. He understands that at some point he might be, thrown out to the crowd's vindicate. And he doesn't want to. He doesn't want to be, the patsy for this.
And by the way, he
So
went
that's why
further.
he's coming out. He's coming out and making a point. He's going on record. Now, I don't know if this is not going to adversely cost him, cause him physical harm to his integrity. It's possible that now the SBU is going to be coming for him. But at least, he's clearing his conscience, which, I mean, that's pretty much all he can do at this point. But this is actually par for the course of what's going on in Ukraine. It's a very divided society, and not this kind of monolithic, all patriotic spirit. No. This the train has left the station on this. People are fed up. They understand that the gig is up. They understand that they are being thrown into the meat grinder so that a few people at the top can pocket, a foreign aid and invest in luxurious villas out there and God knows what else, while everybody else is left, with their grief, essentially.
Yeah. Well, he went further. He said after the first arrival of the Senator Sumy, General Articuck ran like a crazy first, throwing and knocking down children in his way. Effectively, that's a Seinfeld episode where there was a fire and George goes running, knocking old women and children out the way to try to get out of the building. That's effectively what he's trying to say took place with the guy. He said he ran like cowards after the first shot, where all of these other people effectively were killed. That is astonishing. And that is a great disparity between what is being presented in the, mind you, we are paying 80%, 70 to 80% of the genocide that's taking place in Israel. And yet the newspapers in the US are still printing, oh my God, look at the Sumy attack, killing civilians. That just astonishing disparity between these two things. I just wanted to hit